ShinRobjira.
So Evangelion finally made it into the movie monster series, and at last, my fever dream of getting vinyl Ava Unit figures has finally become a reality. When I first started getting into Evangelion as a whole franchise, the anime, the movies, all of that, it was around the time that Shin Godzilla was coming out. I wanted to see what the big deal was about this guy, Hideaki Anno, directing a Godzilla movie and why it's such a cool idea. Clearly it worked out for the better for me, because Shin Godzilla is my favorite Godzilla movie, and I love Neon Genesis Evangelion and the Rebuild series. Not this much, though. No! So the prospect of there being movie monster series Evangelion figures was always kind of floating in the back of my head. I was wondering when or if it would ever happen, and it never did. Until this year when it actually did happen, and we have Evangelion 3.0 plus 1.0 thrice upon a time to thank for it. Thank you, Anno. I appreciate it dearly. So how do the Ava units fare being made out of a squishier vinyl? Well, I'm not gonna lie to you. They are half painted, yes, but they're actually not too bad. Anyway, let's talk about the tags. So for anybody who was there for the unboxing live stream last night, thank you so much for joining me. It was a lot of fun. We'll do more of those very soon. You'll know that Ava Unit 2's tag came in very bad shape.
Tag! What did Un do to my tag? Oh, I do not appreciate that at all. Look, it's how it is torn. That is bullshit.
The worst shape I've ever seen a tag come in. Now that box was a little on the squishad side, so whatever happened, that is probably the cause of these tags being so banged up. But Ava Unit 1's tag fared a lot better than Ava Unit 2. As you can see, when it comes to how the tags look, they are going to differ on the backs. They're really not going to differ on the fronts, and I imagine they'll mostly be the same on the insides because, as far as Ava Unit 1 goes, there is no photo on the inside, and it's mostly just this, and yes, that breaks my heart. We must keep the essence of Robo Mommy fresh and safe at all costs. So, paint and detail. Taking a look at Ava Unit 2 first. I think she turned out pretty dang well, especially with those tiny little green eyes on her head. I mean, they're friggin' painted. There's a truckload of detail on the head, the side, and even the back, and even the top over here as well. An unexpected surprise, but a welcomed one nonetheless. We're gonna get some nice brown paint on Ava Unit 2's neck, and we're also going to get some yellow on the underside of its jaw over here. Color me surprised there, Bandai. We'll get some yellow on the Robomama Dedis, and then we'll get some paint over here. The paint on the lower end of the torso moving into the thighs is okay. It's serviceable at best, but just move the arm back like so, turn it to the side, and there you go. Very, very similar to that of Bandai Ultraman figures. Although I'd argue they're not as egregious, but they do mostly suffer from the same kind of painting. That might be the biggest oxymoron I've ever uttered. Near the same, but not suffering as much from the paint applications that are near the same. I guess what I'm trying to say is I don't mind it as much. As far as Ava Unit 2 goes, the shoulder pauldrons up here are going to have the proper amounts of detail, and they're going to have the proper amount of paint. The red is going to frame the back end of them. The red over here is all fully present. The little icon at the center isn't going to be painted at all, save for the yellow that needs to be on the arm, and everything on this side of the arm is nicely painted. I won't deny that. The yellow paint does stop midway through the bicep over here, moving into the side of the figure, and the opposite side of the forearm won't have the black, and the fists won't be painted other than its base coat. But the fists will be fully detailed for sure, and personally the one thing I'm most impressed with is just the fact that they have those knuckles fully detailed on there, and even the little dot right there too. And yes, it's even going to be on the thumb. Zero paint on the back, but there is going to be a lot of detail back here. Unmistakable and unquestionably Evangelion levels of detail. And then we just move throughout the back to the back of the legs, and you can see that there are details here. Nothing crazy, but just enough, I feel. Moving down to the front side of the legs, we are going to get some white highlights over here underneath the very pointy knee pads. They will not feature any yellow triangles on top of them, but there will be yellow on the bottom of the feet over here, including some very lovely looking details. Yeah, the paint might leave a little to be desired from some people, but when you look at the price tags for some of the Evangelion figures out there, you kind of just welcome anything that you can afford without sacrificing an arm and a leg and maybe a couple of other very important organs. So as far as Eva Unit 2 goes, I'm thinking half a star in terms of paint because it could be better, but I am still rather impressed with how much it actually does have, and a solid star in terms of details. And hey yo, not for nothing, these figures are a little bit bigger than I was expecting too. I like that. Moving on to Eva Unit 1. This figure definitely has a lot more paint than Eva Unit 2. But the downsides are you can tell the half-painted nature a little bit more with Eva Unit 1 than 2. I mean, you can see it already, can't you? The half-painted biceps, all that. But let's take a look at the positives here. The mouth is going to be a nice flat gray. The eyes are painted. These little lines around the eyes are going to be painted. I think they're supposed to be red, but they are black here. Not really all that bothered by that, honestly. The same will be done on both sides, and as I'm sure you've noticed, the stripes around the Eva Unit horn over here, or whatever you want to call it, are fully painted. Another thing I wasn't fully expecting even though they were in the promo shots. And I gotta say, the overall detail on Eva Unit 1's head is really, really impressive. Even the back of the head too over here has some details. You have to squint to really see it, but impressive nonetheless. Just like Eva Unit 2, the back of Eva Unit 1 is going to remain mostly unpainted, but the details are perfect. And I do mean perfect. All of this looks very, very good. The shoulder pauldrons are going to be outlined in purple like they're supposed to. We're going to get our greens, we're going to get our blacks. We're not going to get this icon painted in any way, shape, or form, but you can see very clearly where that green stripe stops, and I feel like it almost stops a little on the early side. Yeah. The forearms moving into the fists, though, I think are just fine. Then turning the figure to the opposite side, you can see where the green stops and where it was no longer applied on the inside of the forearm. As much as I hate to say we should be used to this by now, we should be used to this by now. And just like Eva Unit 2, we are going to get the details for the knuckles, including the little dot right there, and on the top of the thumb. Of course, you're going to get that on both sides, and that's pretty dang cool. Yellow paint for the neck and throat. Gray, green, and purple paint for the titties over here. Purple, green, and black for the torso and crotch pits. Half painted. Missing gray paint on the crotch plate thingy over here. Guess she's a hung mommy. What are you gonna do? And then we move to the knee pads over here, which are pointy and black and green with no yellow-orange triangles on the top, into the Eva Force 1s over here, which will be green. The little holes in there won't be painted black or anything like that. And tipping the figure over, we can see magnificent detail, but it hasn't been highlighted in red either on the bottom, on the side, or even on the back. I'm going to have to parrot what I said with Eva Unit 2 with Eva Unit 1. A half a star for paint, a solid star for details. Now let's move on over into articulation. Both figures can rotate at the head. Arms may rotate all the way around on both sides of both figures, yes. And believe it or not, we're not done. There's 2 more points of articulation to talk about. And that's going to be both knees on both sides of both figures. Full rotation. It's a little less for the sake of having articulation and more so just for the fact that these will help the figure stand a bit more, especially if you do what I do with the tags. Both figures are going to receive a solid star in terms of articulation, and as a wee little bonus, I'm going to compare this gal to a figure that I have from Bandai's past. Movie Monster Series Eva Unit 1 meet the Bandai Soul of Soft Vinyl Eva Unit 1. Just look at that. I'm not even trying to make a malicious comparison here, I just think they look really cool together. Now, for those who don't know, the Soul of Soft Vinyl line from Bandai, I think it's very much dead. I haven't seen a listing for that line pop up on HLJ, ever. And judging by the prices, yeah, I do think this is a defunct line from Bandai, but hey, Bandai, bring it back, please. Spirit of Soft Vinyl Eva Unit 1 is more so a solid vinyl figure. You can't really go about squishing this gal at all. Whereas with Movie Monster Series Eva Unit 1, she's got premium squish going on. The other obvious differences between the two is mostly going to be Eva Unit 1's posture and how spindly and skinny she is, and obviously the paint, but just look at these two figures side by side. It's crazy how different they are from one another, and I do like that the movie Monster Series figures have that hunched over posture that is very accurate and very much appreciated, really. And the main reason I bring this figure from this line up is simple. Bandai actually made angel figures for this line, and I want them in the movie Monster Series. Very, very badly. Whether they're half painted, fully painted, I don't care. I would like them very much. Because I don't feel like paying $3.0 prices, or any other prices for that matter, when it comes to Evangelion merchandising, especially in regards to the angels. Yeah, again, I'm really not bringing this figure in to show you how Bandai did it better in 2007 versus 2022. You can kind of just see that for yourself. But just to be a bit of a dickbag about it, look at that. Look at all of the paint that movie Monster Series Eva Unit 1 is missing as compared to the spirit or soul of soft vinyl Eva Unit 1. Although this gal is based off of Rebuild 1 Eva Unit 1, I believe this one is based off of Eva Unit 1 from Thrice Upon a Time? I could be very wrong there. I still haven't seen Thrice Upon a Time. I'm waiting to see it with friends, and I'm not sure if the original Eva Unit 1 even appears in that movie. I mean, there's a unit in there that looks like Eva Unit 1, but it's not, and I hope we get a vinyl figure of that because they looked awesome. I love it. But anywho's, our time for some size comparisons. Not the most graceful entry point into the movie Monster Series that I've seen, but a good one nonetheless. Yes, of course, and as I always say, do I wish they had more paint? Absolutely, but for what we got, all in terms of paint detail and articulation, I'm quite surprised. I'm also surprised it took this long for the movie Monster Series to allow anybody but Godzilla into its doors, but hey, what can you do? I'm happy with how these things turned out, especially in terms of size, and I am definitely going to be keeping up with the movie Monster Series Eva Unit series because there's quite a few rumored to be coming out sometime within the next 6 to 7 months, and I am hyped, my guys, my gals, my pals. Unfortunately, none of them that I've seen thus far are actually angels. They appear to just be Eva units. I haven't looked at that little slip in quite a while, but I think it's just Eva units for the time being. Why don't you comment down below and let me know how you feel about these figures? I mean, at the end of the day, you're getting cheap and affordable Eva unit figures. I mean, I'm not sure if anybody else is making these things cheaper than Bandai right now, so take what you can get. I have been ShinRobjira. I do so hope you all enjoyed this review. If you did, be sure to check out my social media, subscribe, like this video, even maybe check out my Patreon, where $1 a month gets you everything that I can offer you at this point in time. And when next we meet, I'm going to be talking about dinosaurs again, so I hope you're excited for that. I hope you're excited for more. December is on its way, which means a lot more content will hopefully be rolling out for that month. If you know, you know. Have a lovely day, afternoon, night, whenever, however, whomstever, and I'll see you all next time. Peace.